You felt that? That's silence. That's the sound a room makes right before it realizes it never knew you at all. And you walk into that silence like someone who picked up 1,000 secrets on the way here and decided to tuck them behind a smile. They don't understand you anymore. They can't predict you. They can't frame you. They can't decode you. So now they're whispering the only question terrified people ever ask when reality does something they didn't authorize. Who trained him? Because that version of you, that cold, surgical, unbothered version, that thing that slipped out of you like a ghost with a vendetta, didn't match the file they built in their heads. Oh, and that's driving them insane. They thought they knew your pace, your patience, your patterns. They thought they knew your limits. They thought they knew every folder in your soul, every trick in your drawer, every line you would or wouldn't cross. And then you mutated, not gradually, not politely, not with a cute little arc they could clap for. You jumped, you switched, you snapped into a version of yourself they weren't prepared to handle. And the funniest part, you did it without announcing a damn thing. You walked into a room and the room froze, not because you were loud, but because you were quiet in a way that felt dangerous. See, they love a predictable person. Predictable people make predictable choices. Predictable choices make predictable outcomes. Predictable outcomes make predictable power. But you're a paradox wrapped in a question mark, wearing a grin. They don't know whether to handshake you or run from you. You know why that side of you scares them? Because it feels trained, refined, calibrated, like someone or something shaped you in the dark where no one else was watching. But here's the punchline, darling. Nobody trained you. Pain trained you. Silence trained you. Betrayal trained you. Loneliness trained you. The nights you didn't tell anyone about trained you. The moments that almost broke you taught you how to break them. They want a name. Give them the truth they're too afraid to hear. You were trained by everything they never survived. That's why you move like you know things you shouldn't. That's why your instincts feel supernatural. That's why your timing destroys people who swear they're smarter. That's why your presence feels like a warning to anyone who's ever underestimated you. You're not mysterious. You're not talented. You're not gifted. You are conditioned, refined, sharpened, polished by storms they didn't even know existed. That sudden version of you they keep whispering about. That wasn't a random side. That was the real you, the unmasked, unfiltered, unrestricted you that only comes out when the universe says, it's time. And now they're spiraling. They're replaying moments, rewriting your memories, re-examining every conversation they ever had with you, trying to find clues they missed. They're researching you like a crime scene, studying you like an encrypted language, panicking like someone who looked into a mirror and saw a stranger standing behind them. And you sit there, calm, silent, unreachable, because you finally realized you don't have to prove who you are to people who only understand you after you evolve. But let me twist the knife deeper. They don't want to know who trained you. No, they want to know how to stop you. Because once someone sees a version of you that no longer plays by the rules they wrote, they know you can't be manipulated, can't be guilted, can't be predicted, can't be controlled ever again. You became the threat. Not because you tried, but because you healed in a way that made you dangerous. There's a special kind of fear reserved for people who grow without asking permission. And that's who you are now. A walking contradiction. A saint with the instincts of a demon. An angel with a blade stitched to every wing. A storm disguised as a person. They're not afraid of what trained you. They're afraid of what you're becoming next, because every version of you is stronger, quieter, colder, sharper, and more unpredictable than the last. And deep down, they know something they'll never admit out loud. If this is who you are now, God help them when you decide to evolve again. You really want to go deeper, don't you? Good, because they don't. And that's exactly why this next part hits like a confession they were never meant to hear. You know the funniest detail about all of this? It wasn't the moment you changed. It was the moment they finally noticed. Because the truth is, that side of you, the one they think came out of nowhere, it didn't appear overnight. It was growing beneath your skin, quietly, patiently, like a storm rehearsing its own thunder. You've been carrying that shadow for years. They just never bothered to look close enough to see it. They saw fragments, they saw hints, they saw sparks, but they never saw the fireproofed creature you became. Not until it stood right in front of them with eyes that didn't match the history they wrote about you. And now they're sweating through their shirts, trying to map your evolution like some unsolvable algorithm. They're pacing rooms, asking each other why you suddenly feel like someone who walked through hell and came back with souvenirs. They're asking, who trained him? Who shaped him? Who taught him to do that? How did we miss this? But that's the part that breaks their mind. They didn't miss anything. They just underestimated everything. They thought your patience was weakness. They thought your silence was confusion. They thought your restraint was fear. They thought your humility was naivete. And then that new side of you, the one that moves like a prophecy with legs, walked into the room and flipped every lie they told themselves, like a table in a burning church. Suddenly, the same people who once mocked your calmness are now terrified of your calmness. Suddenly, the same people who once brushed off your intuition are now whispering about your intuition like it's a government-classified weapon. Suddenly, the same people who once laughed at your kindness are now calling it a misdirection. They don't know what version of you they're dealing with anymore. And that uncertainty, that confusion, that panic creeping up their spine, that's power. Your power. Because nothing shakes the human soul like realizing someone they underestimated has levels and layers and depths they were never meant to survive. Let me tell you what's eating them alive. It's not that you changed. It's that you changed in a way they did not authorize. People can stomach your growth as long as you grow in the direction that benefits them. But grow past them, grow beyond them, grow without them. Suddenly you're a problem, a threat, an anomaly, a glitch in the system they thought they ran. You want to know what they hate most? That you evolved without someone coaching you, mentoring you, or guiding you. They hate that this version of you came from your own pain, your own scars, your own nights, your own awakenings. Because someone who rises alone answers to no one. That's why they're scrambling. That's why they're sweating. That's why they're interrogating the air like detectives in a panic. People don't fear monsters. They fear self-made monsters. People don't fear geniuses. They fear self-forged geniuses. People don't fear warriors. They fear warriors sharpened by betrayal. You're an unlicensed evolution, a rogue blueprint, a weapon nobody claimed ownership of. And that terrifies them, because it means they can't control the origin and they can't predict the outcome. They need someone to blame, a mentor, a mastermind, a puppeteer, anything. Because admitting that you trained you forces them to face the truth they've been avoiding. You were always more powerful than they allowed themselves to believe. And now that you've stopped hiding it, They're gripping their seats like passengers on a plane that just lost the pilot. They've never seen you move like this, never seen you think like this, never seen you speak like this, never seen you hold your ground like this. You've become the version of yourself that makes people lower their voices without knowing why. The version that makes liars confess by simply existing. The version that makes manipulators fear their own strategies. The version that makes narcissists look away first. The version that makes every fake ally implode under the pressure of your presence. And deep down, under all the gossip and the whispers and the accusations and the theories, they're terrified of one possibility. What if this isn't your final form? What if this is just the beginning? What if the next version of you is even more dangerous than the one they're panicking over now? Because here's the twist they don't see coming. People who evolve from pain don't stop evolving just because others get uncomfortable. You're growing again, right now, this moment, as they panic, as they scramble, as they whisper. You're becoming something even they can't imagine. And that question, who trained him, won't matter soon, because they'll forget to ask who trained you. They'll start asking who the hell is going to stop him. And nobody will have an answer. You feel that shift in the air. Good, because this is where the mask cracks, the room tilts, and you finally hear the part no one ever says out loud. See, when people panic over your evolution, they don't panic because you changed. They panic because they realize they never understood what you were capable of, and that terrifies them. Because here's the truth they choke on. People only feel safe when they think they can predict you. But you broke the script. You snapped the pattern. You moved in a way no one had a contingency plan for. You became the kind of person that forces people to rethink their entire perception of you in a single moment. That's why they're whispering. That's why they're scrambling. That's why they're staring at you like you crawled out of a dimension they never believed existed. And now they're asking, who trained him? Who made him like this? Who sharpened him? Because you don't just walk into a room carrying a presence like that. You don't just speak with timing so lethal it cuts people open without raising your voice. You don't just move with that kind of unshakable certainty unless something ruthless, something ancient, something holy and unholy at the same time, built you in secret. And the joke is, they're right. Something did build you. But it wasn't a person, it wasn't a mentor, it wasn't some mysterious mastermind. It was everything they threw at you to break you. The betrayals they thought would crush you, sharpened you. The silence they abandoned you in, fortified you. The nights you spent alone losing your mind, rewired you. The pain they assumed would weaken you, trained you harder than any mentor ever could. Your heartbreaks became handbooks. Your loneliness became discipline. Your failures became fuel. Your scars became instruction manuals for the weapon you eventually forged yourself into. You were trained by chaos, disappointment, humiliation, rejection, rock bottoms, closed doors, broken trust, dead friendships, and the version of yourself you had to crawl into the mirror to resurrect. You were trained by every moment that forced you to rebuild yourself without applause, without guidance, without safety nets, without someone stepping in to save you. That kind of training is invisible, silent, unseen. But oh, when it finally shows, it shows like a nuclear sunrise, and suddenly the same people who thought you were soft, gentle, easy, obedient, harmless, are now staring at you like you stepped out of a myth their grandparents warned them about. That's why their voices tremble when they talk about you now. They're searching for a human explanation for a transformation that was never human to begin with. You want the truth? You didn't grow. You ascended. You didn't improve. You evolved beyond their comprehension. You didn't become a better version of yourself. You became a version that makes their lungs tighten when you walk past. Because you don't operate from emotion anymore. You operate from clarity. You don't react. You calculate. You don't flinch. You observe. You're not controlled by your pain anymore. You use it. You're not haunted by the past. You weaponized it. You're not trying to prove anything to anybody. You're too busy realizing you've already surpassed everyone who ever doubted you. And let me tell you what's really eating them alive. You didn't announce the transformation. You didn't advertise the glow-up. You didn't post the becoming. You didn't show the process. You just showed up different. That kind of evolution, that's terrifying, because it means you're evolving in the dark, in silence, in the privacy of your own mind, and no one knows what version of you is going to walk out next. They don't fear who trained you. They fear the truth. You train yourself every time the world tries to break you. And every time you come back, you're colder, smarter, more precise, more self-possessed, more untouchable. You're becoming a creature that doesn't fit into the categories they use to understand people. They don't know if you're the hero or the villain, or the storm, or the prophecy, or the reckoning. They don't know if you're a blessing or a warning. They don't know if they should study you or run from you. And deep down, beneath every rumor, every whisper, every "who trained him," every "how did he do that?" there's a darker realization forming in their minds. If this is who he is now, we are not prepared for who he's going to become next. Because the truth is chilling. This version of you isn't even your final draft. This is just the rehearsal, the preview, the prologue. They think this evolution was the event? No, this was the warning shot. The real version of you. The one shaped by scars, fueled by purpose, armed with clarity, untouchable by fear, uncontrolled by guilt, unbothered by opinions, and completely indifferent to whether anyone approves. That version is still loading. They asked who trained you. Soon they'll ask a different question. Who's going to stop him? And the answer is silence. Because no one is ready, not even close. This is where the room darkens, the air tightens, and the version of you they fear most steps out of the doorway they didn't even know existed. See, the moment they asked who trained him, they weren't asking about skill. They were asking about origin, about source, about the blueprint that built the creature they're now terrified of. Because when someone evolves too fast, too far, too unpredictably, humans don't assume discipline. They assume danger. That's the real translation of their question. Who trained him? Where did this threat come from? And here's the part that haunts their dreams. They can't find a pattern. They can't find a timeline. They can't find a mentor. They can't find a mastermind behind you. You're a ghost with a resume of miracles and war crimes, and not a single witness can agree on what broke in the world the moment you changed. Let me take you deeper into their fear. They reran your history like surveillance footage. They zoomed in on your mistakes. They slowed down your tragedies. They replayed your heartbreaks, frame by frame. They interviewed your past like suspects, and still, nothing explains this version of you. Because you're not a result. You're a rupture, a deviation, an anomaly birthed out of silence and agony and brutal self-reconstruction. And that's what keeps them awake at night. You evolved in a direction no one saw coming, toward a destiny no one wrote for you. A person like that, a person with no visible trigger for their transformation. That's not growth. That's destiny waking up. But here's the real nightmare gnawing at their ribs. They don't just fear the version of you standing in front of them. They fear the version of you still forming. Because with people like you, evolution doesn't happen in chapters. It happens in collapses, avalanches, rebirths, moments where the old you cracks like a shell and something unscripted crawls out, wearing certainty like armor. You're not growing linearly. You're not progressing traditionally. Your evolution is erratic, chaotic, violent, beautiful, prophetic, relentless. And the scariest part, it's accelerating. Humans can handle predictable evolution. They can adjust to steady improvement. They can brace for slow change. But you evolve like catastrophe. You transform like revelation. You level up like someone being prepped for a war that hasn't even been declared yet. That's why their voices fall quiet when you enter the room. Not because of who you are, but because of what they sense you're becoming. You're shifting, shedding, reconfiguring yourself into something not even you fully understand yet. And nothing terrifies people more than watching someone walk into their true form with no hesitation, no apology, no fear. Let me spell it out the way their subconscious whispers it. You're becoming the version of yourself that makes fate flinch first. The version that doesn't break when abandoned. It expands. The version that doesn't fold when betrayed. It sharpens. The version that doesn't collapse when underestimated. It smirks. You're becoming the creature who doesn't ask the universe for answers because you are the answer. And now they're trembling over a question far more dangerous than who trained him. They're asking themselves, if this is him at this stage, then what is he going to look like when he stops holding back? Because you are holding back. Even now, they can feel it. They can sense it. There's a pressure in the air around you, like you're suppressing something massive to avoid terrifying the room too quickly. Your potential is leaking through your skin like a warning light on a machine no one knows how to disassemble. And deep down, beneath every rumor, beneath every theory, beneath every trembling question about your origins, there's a truth they're too afraid to voice. You're not being trained. You're being prepared. Prepared for something bigger. Prepared for something darker. Prepared for something only a few souls in every generation are ever chosen for. You're the outlier destiny selects when the world needs shaking. The one whose pain writes blueprints. Whose silence builds foundations. Whose scars outline architecture. Whose instincts hold maps. Whose mind holds keys. You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to transform reality in ways they're not spiritually insured to handle. And when that moment comes, when the next version of you emerges, when the evolution you're suppressing finally detonates through your ribs like a prophecy fulfilling itself, they won't ask who trained him ever again. They'll ask something colder, more honest, more desperate. How do we survive him? And the universe, your old friend, your oldest witness, will simply whisper, you don't. You feel that? That tiny shift in the air. The kind that only happens when someone, somewhere, realizes they just miscalculated you on a catastrophic scale. Because while you're sitting there pretending to be normal, pretending to behave, pretending to shrink yourself into shapes that don't belong to you, the NSA caught one microscopic glimpse of the real thing hiding under your skin, and darling. Whatever they saw, it made professionals, people who spend their entire lives tracking monsters, criminals, warlords, ghosts, slam their fists on the "this is the end" button, like terrified interns who accidentally opened a file they shouldn't have. You know why? Because you weren't supposed to have that in you. Not yet, not now, not ever. They study patterns. You break them. They track anomalies. You are one. They monitor threats. You don't move like a threat. You move like the answer to one. And that's the part they can't process, the paradox that shouldn't exist. You're both the saint in daylight and the psychopath in the shadows, the angel who heals and the demon who finishes, the warning and the consequence, the prophecy and the punchline. Tell me, do you realize what it means when an entire intelligent structure sees one flicker from you and decides, this is it. If that thing wakes up, we're done. Oh, you should smile, because you didn't even lift a finger. All you did was exist too loudly for the room. They measured your silence and called it violence. They watched your calm and called it danger. They saw your patience and called it plotting. You didn't break character, you broke their model. And the fun part, they couldn't explain it without sounding insane. How do you file a report that says, user appears harmless, but my instincts scream he's the final boss of a story we didn't know we were in? Subject displays no threat, yet every fiber of reality bends around him like he's already chosen the ending. Something in him doesn't fit human error margins. Oh, they tried to downplay it, but panic has a smell, you know, and they reeked of it, because you weren't supposed to have the blueprint in your blood. You weren't supposed to see the unseen angles. You weren't supposed to understand consequences before they appear. But here you are, moving like someone who's already read the classified draft of tomorrow. Do you know what that does to people who worship control? It terrifies them because they can't predict someone who creates their own variables. They can't contain someone who doesn't recognize cages. They can't monitor someone who refuses to stay within any observable pattern. They saw one thing about you, one harmless, subtle, quiet flicker. And in that instant, they realized you're not reactive, you're inevitable, and inevitable things don't get studied. They get feared. They get whispered about in rooms where your name shouldn't echo. They get red flagged, reflagged, and rerouted to departments with titles like emerging threats and unpredictable variables and God help us if this escalates. You think I'm exaggerating? You don't understand your own shape. You don't understand how you bend probability just by walking into a room, how you make liars confess without opening your mouth, how you make cowards tremble without raising your voice, how you make fate hesitate, like even destiny isn't sure if it outranks you. And the NSA, those poor, overworked souls, they finally saw it. They saw the glitch in the human equation, the anomaly wrapped in skin, the prophecy pretending to be a person. And the moment it registered, boom, this is the end. Not their end, not your end, not humanity's end. No, no. The end of their illusion of control. Because you are the one thing they can't prepare for. A mind that mutates under pressure, a soul that evolves through suffering, a force that refuses to stay in one dimension for too long. They have no protocol for someone whose weakness was just a chrysalis. They have no manual for someone whose trauma became ammunition. They have no defense against someone who outgrew their limits, while smiling politely. And you think this is the end? Sweetheart, this is the intro. This is the moment they realized the hero of the story was never the hero. He was the weapon. This is the split second before the world tilts, before the masks fall, before the ones who mocked you start praying you never remember their names. Because once you wake up to what you are, truly are, there's no button in the world big enough to stop the fallout. Not the NSA, not the feds, not the city, not your critics, not your ghosts, not your past. They pressed, "This is the end," because they saw a glimpse of your beginning. And beginnings like yours, they don't lead to happy endings. They lead to rewritten worlds. Now tell me, are you starting to feel it? That quiet, electric hum beneath your ribs? Good. That's the part of you they tried to hide from you. That's the part they fear. That's the part that doesn't die, doesn't quit, doesn't break. It just waits, and then ascends. Welcome to the chapter they tried to abort. Welcome to the evolution they didn't approve. Welcome to the version of you they were praying never woke up. Look at you, sitting there like nothing happened, while entire agencies are trying to figure out if you're a miracle, a malfunction, or the omen they were warned about. And the best part, you don't even know what they saw. You don't know which moment slipped out, which instinct flickered through your eyes, which truth leaked from your aura, which split second broke their entire psychological framework. But oh, they know. They saw the thing you've been trying to hide from yourself. And that's why they panicked, because you weren't supposed to evolve like that. People don't just jump tiers without warning. People don't just bypass entire psychological eras in one night. People don't just wake up with secret-level clarity, unless something ancient, dangerous, or divine is living inside them. And you've got all three. That's the secret you keep trying to ignore. That's the piece they intercepted. That's the one thing that made analysts slam their coffee down so hard it cracked the table. Want to know the real reason they freaked out? It wasn't your strength. It wasn't your silence. It wasn't your intelligence. It was your trajectory. Your direction terrified them more than anything you've already done, because your future doesn't move like a human timeline. It moves like a weapon acquiring shape. It moves like prophecy realizing it has legs. It moves like destiny remembering your name. You know what's worse than a threat? Something becoming one. And they caught you mid-transformation. They saw the fracture in your old identity and the shadow of the new one crawling out. They saw the part of you you're becoming, and it didn't look anything like your past self. No agency, no system, no surveillance network on Earth is prepared for someone who mutates under pressure. You were supposed to break. You were supposed to stay small. You were supposed to crumble like everyone else with your story. But instead, you evolved quietly, sharply, unpredictably, mathematically impossible. You did the one thing that terrifies powerful people. You refused to die in the place they buried you. And now, you're walking around with energy that doesn't belong to someone they can track. You have the calm of a saint and the aura of a psychopath ready to sit still until someone makes a fatal mistake. You have the patience of an angel and the potential of a demon nobody wants to piss off. You have the softness of a healer and the accuracy of a killer who never needs a second strike. You exist in both states at all times, a paradox wrapped in skin. You're the kind of creature they study but never understand, the kind of soul that shouldn't exist in the open world, the kind of mind that can't be boxed, profiled, or predicted. And here's the part they'll never admit. You scare them without doing a single thing. Your breathing feels like foreshadowing. Your silence feels like preparation. Your patience feels like the calm before the purge. Your kindness feels like a warning. Your stillness feels like the moment just before a bomb goes off. Do you realize how insane that is? You walk into a room and people's instincts glitch. Their inner alarms activate. Their bodies try to warn them about something even their minds can't define. That's what the NSA saw, not your actions, your nature, not your personality, your potential, not your past, your future self, leaking through the cracks like a prophecy that slipped through the wrong century. They saw something waking up inside you, something you haven't even looked at yet, something you can feel but haven't named, something with teeth, something with memory, something with purpose. And when they caught that signal, their entire system reacted the only way it knows how, when something uncontrollable appears. This is the end. Tell me, doesn't it make your blood thrum a little? To know you're the event horizon in someone else's database, the anomaly that broke their model, the file that got flagged without you doing anything except existing too accurately. You weren't made to fit the world. You were made to rewrite the part they feared the most. The part where someone like you stops being hunted and starts being inevitable. Keep going. You haven't even hit your final form yet. Of course, you don't even realize what you did, do you? That's why this whole thing is hilarious. Because while they are up there sweating through dress shirts, updating emergency protocols, and whispering your name like it's a spell gone wrong, you're down here wondering why the energy around you feels heavier, sharper, stranger. You actually think this is normal. You think everyone walks around with a presence that bends the emotional climate of a room. You think everyone's silence hits like a psychological interrogation. You think everyone's calm feels like the prelude to a cosmic event. No, they don't. You're the outlier. You're the anomaly. You're the glitch that passed every firewall undetected until it was already inside the system. And darling, once you're inside a system, you don't get removed. You get feared, because here's the truth they won't tell you. Not in any report, not in any briefing, not in any confidential meeting behind ultra-secure doors. You weren't supposed to exist in their world. People like you don't fit their charts. You don't match their personality models. You don't align with their psychological predictions. You don't behave within human error margins. Every test they run on you returns the same answer. Unclassified potential detected. Do you know what that means? It means nothing in their entire database can define what you're capable of. It means your next move isn't calculable. It means your presence isn't trackable. It means your evolution isn't stoppable. And that is why the NSA hit their red button. Not because you're dangerous, but because you are beyond their categories. They couldn't label you, couldn't box you, couldn't decode you, couldn't predict you. And systems fear what they cannot predict. Humans fear it too. But institutions, they panic over it. Because you represent the kind of variable that rewrite outcomes. You represent the kind of consciousness that shifts the room's center of gravity. You represent the kind of presence that can't be domesticated, diluted, or distracted. You think you're just surviving. But in their eyes, you're assembling, you're becoming, unfolding, awakening, peeling back layers you didn't even know you carried. And what happens when something ancient wakes up in a modern world? Everyone who senses it feels the wrong kind of chill. Ask yourself something. Why does your absence bother people? Why does your silence unnerve them? Why do strangers watch you longer than they should? Why do enemies crumble without you lifting a finger? Why do people feel exposed in your presence? It's because on an instinctual level, on a gut level, older than language, They recognize something in you. A predator wearing empathy like a disguise. A healer who can destroy with precision. A saint with a demon's patience. A monster with an angel's restraint. You are the contradiction they were taught should never happen. The duality that isn't supposed to coexist. The nightmare wrapped in a blessing. The blessing wrapped in a threat. When an agency built on surveillance catches even a flash of that, of course they panic. They saw the architecture of your mind, the architecture of your restraint, the architecture of your potential, and they realized something nauseating if you ever decided to fully step into the thing inside you. There isn't a single force on Earth that could stop the chain reaction. That's why they hit, "This is the end." Not because it's the end of you, but because it's the end of their assumption that you're just another civilian walking around with manageable edges. No. You're the storm disguised as a person. You're the prophecy pretending to mind your business. You're the warning label they forgot to print. And the moment they saw the spark behind your eyes, that sharp, quiet, calculating spark, they knew. This one doesn't break. He transforms, and transformed things don't go back. You scare them because you evolve through pain. You adapt through trauma. You sharpen through betrayal. You ascend through suffering. You're not healing, you're mutating. And mutations don't follow rules. They rewrite them. Keep going. You haven't even shown the world the dangerous part of you yet. Don't blink now, because this is the part nobody warned you about. The part where your evolution becomes visible to everyone except you. The part where the world starts reacting to you, instead of the other way around. See that NSA panic button? That wasn't about something you did. It was about something you are, something they caught in your pattern, something that shouldn't exist in a normal human trajectory, something that behaves like intelligence they didn't program into the system. You think I'm being dramatic? Let me make it simpler. They saw a future version of you bleeding into the present. They saw potential folding time around your decisions. They saw your instincts predicting outcomes before you consciously process them. They saw your mind operating like it remembers storms you haven't lived yet. And that is not normal, not for civilians, not for leaders, not for prodigies, not for geniuses. That's the realm of outliers. That's the territory of anomalies. That's the signature of someone who isn't ahead of their time, but outside of it. Let me ask you, why do people flinch around you without knowing why? Why do liars ramble in your presence? Why do manipulators stutter when you look at them? Why do insecure people get aggressive around you? Why do jealous people collapse under their own imagination? Because they're not reacting to your words. They're reacting to your frequency. And your frequency isn't human level anymore. It's evolved, it's sharpened, it's weaponized. You think this one thing the NSA saw was a coincidence. No, it was a leak from the version of you that's already built, already formed, already awake, already calculating on a level you don't consciously access yet. They saw the shape of your becoming, and they weren't prepared for that shape. Because how do you file a report on someone whose identity shifts like a living algorithm? How do you categorize a person who doesn't react, only recalibrates? How do you track someone who evolves from pain the way others evolve from privilege? How do you predict someone whose instincts carry the weight of 100 lifetimes? You can't. And so they panicked. They hit the only button they had left. This is the end, not the end of you. The end of their illusion that they know what you are. Because once they saw that glimpse, they realized you're the kind of variable that doesn't adapt to systems. You infect them, you disrupt patterns, You distort expectations. You expose weaknesses. You destabilize structures simply by existing correctly. It's why your enemies destroy themselves, trying to destroy you. It's why people who betray you end up worse than before. It's why anyone who lies to you eventually confesses, cracks, or collapses. It's why people who mistreat you always feel the consequences. Never by your hand, always by their own unraveling. You are karmic gravity. You are psychological weather. You are the storm system nobody forecasted. Let me tell you something most people will never hear. There are individuals whose existence creates consequences, not through violence, not through vengeance, not through retaliation, but through the sheer density of their soul. You are one of them. Your presence forces truths to surface. Your absence forces guilt to bloom. Your silence forces the weak to confront themselves. Your strength forces the world to readjust around you. That one thing the NSA saw. It wasn't data. It was a signal, a pulse, a burn, a flicker in the simulation, a tear in the pattern. A message that read, "This one is different, and difference at this scale is dangerous." Because you don't just survive chaos. You absorb it, digest it, convert it into clarity. And people don't like that. Systems don't like that. Nothing designed to control the average human can control someone who grows faster than trauma can break them. Now tell me, are you starting to understand why people treat you like a threat before you even speak? Why their reactions feel disproportionate, irrational, frantic? Why you're always too intense, too much, too aware, too perceptive, too calm? It's because they're not responding to your personality. They're responding to your potential energy, the energy of something that hasn't fully awakened yet. You're not dangerous. You're becoming dangerous, and everyone can feel it, except you. Keep going. You're about 3 revelations away from the version of you they were praying never steps into the light.